Afternoon, this is Doug. Welcome to Blue Apple Tree Animation. I'm just here to give a quick update on the progress of my character, specifically my face rig. If you want to look on previous videos, you can see the lineup of characters I have. Um, I've been developing a face rig now, sort of that can be reused and put onto all the characters. Make some adjustments to the eye shape and the eyebrow shape per character, and then you know plug away and have all my characters with useful face rigs. So um, here we go. I'm just gonna kind of run through what I have so far here. I've preparing to do a pose library with kind of shapes for different vowels and stuff like phonemes and maybe a few basic emotions like happy, sad, or something like that. Um, for both the eyes and the mouth, I want to have these these pose libraries in place to make animation easier and to make sure my characters stay on model. So I'm just gonna show off the rig. I've shown it off in previous videos, but this is what I think is my final version. I'm just going through some tests right now, and as I pose these shapes for the pose library, I'm sure we'll see what else we find. But as you can see, this is just a floating head here, and this is the camera I'm going to use here for my screenshots of my pose library. Um, but I'm just gonna kind of go over the I'm gonna kind of go over the rig basically now as I do some live testing, and we'll see where it goes. So basically, you have your settings here, and under these settings, I'm just gonna minimize the pose library because we won't need that yet. Um, so we have these settings kind of for all the controls to make the character hopefully seem manageable. So these are the main controls for the mouth and the eyes, which hopefully should do the most of the heavy lifting. I'll just kind of show them right real quick here. So we have, as you can see, we have some eye movement there. I tried to get a little secondary motion to come with the eye movement naturally. A little bit of cartoony squash and stretch in the eyes and the brows there. I mean, am I the best animator? No, but hopefully this is enough so you can get some nice movement with just one control here. So we got the eyes moving around there. And of course, we got each individual eyeball. We can move it around there. As you can see, we have the same secondary motion in the eyes. We can expand the eye, shrink the eye. Move it separately like this. Do a little tweaking to the eyebrow shape here. We've got a broad eyebrow control here to move both eyebrows into place there. As you can see, we're getting some secondary motion in the eyes for free in the squash. I mean, this rig is designed to kind of, we're not going to do like Looney Tunes style, like crazy takes and exaggerations of the face. So, if you keep the brows contained into a somewhat plausible range, it holds up. Of course, if you stretch the eyebrows over the head this far, you're going to get some broken shapes there. But that's the intent of the rig is to go just as far as you would go in a somewhat realistic motion here. So as you can see, I still think that provides some flexibility. We do have some crashing issues on the side of the head here. This is stuff that I'm gonna have to kind of work out and see if I can get the eye to stay to the side of the head there as I move the brows over. But again, in reality, we're not pushing the rig to this point here. His brow would never be over the middle of nowhere. So do I need to fix that? Maybe a little bit. I'll tweak it just to make sure it doesn't crash at this point. But you don't need to have it stick to the face at this point because that's just way more stretching than it would need. Really, if you keep it in this range, it holds up pretty well. Uh, let's see what else we got here. Again, we got this brow in here. We got this brow in here. Same thing, just to get some eye shapes. I said a key by accident. There we go. Turn it off. As you can see there, I think there's some decent movement ability there for the eyes. All right, so that's essentially that is the eye. Oh, of course, we have our blinking controls. Same thing. The idea is I want to be able to animate efficiently and quickly. It's probably going to be kind of limited animation, but this blink allows, even if I'm doing animation where I'm not doing curves, as you can see, there's some natural curving in the eye. So if I was doing, not what am I curves, I guess the curve editor, instead of being rounded and smooth because it takes time and animation skill, which I don't have, hopefully some secondary motion in the face would allow me to make a linear animation like this, but still have some kind of smoothness to the eyes there. See, that's the eye blink. Of course, the other eye blink works as well. Again, we're kind of live testing it here, so I may or may not find some issues as I'm doing this. So we'll get the eyes half closed there, and I'll just show you that with the eyes half closed, when you kind of rotate the eyes, you can see the eyes even, the eyelids even arc up a bit too, which I think is kind of nice. Arc down, arc up. There we go. So as we pose the eyes there, I think we get some nice eye shapes which aren't perfect circles. There we go. As you can see, a little motion there. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with this, so let's just put that there for now. And of course, under here we have primary. I'm going to do a better UI for this. Is just a click box of all the controls right now. This is not final as far as the control selection, because I have to do a body rig too and then connect some controls to a proper UI, but all the on and off are here. So we can, let's see, we can do, let me just turn on the rest of the eye controls here. We have secondary brow controls, which allow, again, a little more movement of the eye individually there, the whole brow. Similar to what this main control does, but with each eye individually. We have this little end of the eyeball here. We can tweak that a little more for shapes. If you need to tweak the brow a bit more, you can tweak that end piece there. There we go. What else are the eyes going to do here? So we're also going to do the secondary eye controls there. Another set of controls go on. I'm just going to close the brow controls just for clarity of the screen here. Secondary brows controls give you, let me just move these up just so we can see what's going on there. Okay. These give you individual control of the eyelids, upper eyelid, and lower eyelid. As you can see, a little secondary motion the bottom of the eye as that lower eyelid comes up. And if you bring the eyelids, the bottom eyelids, a little bit closer to the edge of the eye here, you can sort of adjust the kind of timing and speed of your blink. So with the eyes like this, I'm just going to bring the lower eyelids down a little bit there. It's going to work with your blink a bit, see? As you can see now, the lower eyelid kind of comes up with the blink as well too. So if you wanted to bring that lower eyelid into your blink more, you could. You bring the eyelid up for some reason, you're squinting or something, it'll give you that. See, bring it up a little bit, you get the anticipation of the bottom eyelid, bring it down, it closes. That's kind of something that's kind of built in there. And again, you don't need that. You can just look, if you lower it down below, it's gonna raise up so slowly you're not really gonna see it interact with the eye. But if you have the eyelid closer to the eye, you're gonna see that bottom eyelid come up a bit if needed for a blink. And you also have some scaling controls on there, which are gonna allow the eyelid to turn in a little bit. So if I select both these eyelids, I bring it down, and then I use my scale. You're gonna kind of turn the eyelids in. And the only thing available is a scale Y. The scale X doesn't do anything. There we go. Eyebrows turn in. A little bit of a down tilt there. Perfect. One more closer look here at these secondary eye controls. This is individual control, that squash and stretch, so you can kind of squash and stretch your eyes individually. And this is the pupil again, but this pupil has no secondary action, so you can kind of place your pupil around the eye without having that slight warping there. You can change the size of your pupil here as well, bigger, smaller. This is all the, oops, there we go. This is the specs. You have to look real close in here. This is the, that little light purple speck in there that I added. It's actually, this eye spec look was inspired by that DreamWorks movie, Forgotten Island. I kind of like the way the eyes looked in that, so I kind of took that wedge shape in there and I used it. There's this wedge shape in here. And there's this shape in here. I do see though I need to, this wedge shape here actually needs to rotate. So if I go to this red shape, just because it's completely, it's mirrored, but the shape of the wedge is not mirrored. It's where it's supposed to be on that side of the eye, but the control is mirrored. So these are little bugs that I'm sort of figuring out as I go along with it. Let's try and fix this right now. Display viewport. We're just going to take this rotation 44, make that minus 44. Oops, that's not going to be it. Let's see, is it the rotation here? Nope. One of these rotations should do it. Nope. Maybe it's the position. We're going to figure it out. Nope, not that. So we're getting closer, as you can see. There we go. Minus 44. There we go. So now the eye spec is in the right place there, matching the little eye triangle. Again, this is sort of like live testing I'm doing here. I'm going to find some things that I may need to adjust on my rig, and that's totally normal because this is how you problem shoot. There's your little white eye spec. Again, you can move that around as needed, shrink and grow it. All of them can shrink and grow. Pull it off the eye, whatever you need to do to it, you can do to it. So let's see, that's that. Shrink and grow. What else do we have on these secondary controls? That's it. That's all secondary controls for the eyes there. So we'll just we'll zoom out there. It's back to the whole face on the camera view, and we'll take a look. So yeah, that's the eyes. And what else? Remove the secondary eyes control now, and I'm going to go into some cool tweaks here. So we have the outline tweak here. So you can actually, the black outline around the eye is actually a separate piece of geo that's layered behind the eye. The pupil and the speck are actually living in the texture and are controlled through a texture. But the back piece is actually a piece of geometry, and I can kind of scale and grow that a little bit, so you can adjust the eye outline behind the eye, however you want to adjust that. There's even a little tweak here. You can actually adjust each kind of curve of the eye outline. It'll get you whatever shape might be needed. This is me being extra probably. Is it really needed? Who knows? But I put it there because I use these things to build up all the secondary motion in the blink and stuff. These are driven by those controllers to kind of add a little bit more shape to the eye. But again, there you have individual control over it. Same with the sclera, same thing. The sclera actually moves the outline and the eye together, so you can really fine tune the eye shape you would want for whatever reason you want that eye shape. So now we're really getting a very unique eye, and again we're starting to warp it, starting to feel a little more hand drawn, a little more crafted. Maybe in the hands of a skilled animator that would that would be out of this world. Let's see, what else does it do? You can see if I drag this down, it actually reveals the eyelid. So the eyelid you're pulling the eyelid. The eyelid's procedural as well there too. So I'll just drag this down to show. There we go. You can really change the shape of the eye there. Lots of different ways you can tweak that eye with these controllers. Okay, let's see. Again, there we go. We'll move that outline a bit. Outline again. We can really control where that outline lies. And let's see, what else do we have here? So yeah, I think that's about it for the eyes. The eyes and the eyebrows there. We're going to return that back to the default pose. Back to our circles there. And actually have to go secondary eye controls because I need to bring those back to as well. There we go. Now our eyes are back to the default pose. I'm going to get rid of the primary, the secondary, all these eye controls, we're going to get rid of them. And now we're just going to go into the mouth a little bit, and we go into the control mouth, the primary mouth control. So you can see we have the primary control here. On first sight, maybe this isn't clear, but hopefully the second you start moving these controls around, you see what they do. They are labeled. This is the jaw. So you can kind of open your jaw there. Move it around the face. Again, at a certain point, you're going to break the rig. Part of it is because, as you can see, there's no body rig on here, so there's no actual jaw rig. So this jaw control will be connected to a jaw bone, which will drive the deform of the face. So it'll give you a little more flexibility in this shape in dragging the jaw down before the teeth break through. But again, this is not going to be a crazy cartoon where his jaw eats like a giant, I don't know, cantaloupe or something like that. So we have the jaw control. We have an upper lip control, revealing the top teeth there. We have a lower lip control where we can control the position of the bottom teeth there as well. We have this control here, which we can use to kind of drag the lips around the face. The top teeth follow this control, so we can kind of get it in there. Again, as you see here, we do experience some crashing of these poses here, which I'm going to write down mouth, teeth crash, and eyebrow crash on location. That's a note I'm writing for myself. I'm going to try and clean up a little bit in the rig after this, just to make it a little bit. I wouldn't mind being able to hit this shape without seeing the teeth crash through. So that's something that I'm gonna work on a little bit there. Same with the bottom teeth that kind of crash through. Crazy. But again, that's is something I've tried to accommodate for a little bit because I do have teeth controls in there. So I'm looking for, in this list of controls, somewhere we're going to have primary eyes, primary teeth. So we do have some teeth controls in there. Basically, the teeth are right here. So you're going to be able to sort of adjust them a little bit. If that crashing is an issue, they can be adjusted back. And because I have these teeth in there, of course, I can add a driver, which basically says if this jaw goes far enough this way, this control pushes back slightly, which is something I might do when it comes to fixing those crashes a little bit. Again, we don't have to do it too much; it's gonna be perfect in every situation, but I want it to be good in like most of the realistic sort of mouth movements I plan to do. Again, relatively grounded character. I don't want him to be too crazy as far as tune flexibility, but we're gonna have a little bit of exaggeration there. Right now, I'm just showing that we can have the control of the side of the lips there with this side controller. This side controller as well controls the sides of the lips. Again, a little bit of crashing there in the corner, which is something when I bring the shape in, we get a black reveal of the inside of the mouth. This is a little bit of a weighting issue. Again, maybe a blend shape would fix that. Maybe just adjusting the weighting. I'll look into that and make sure I can get that working correctly. And this mouth shape is actually just to show you a little bit how it's built. Reference head G. I'm just going to hide the head. So the mouth is actually a separate piece of geometry that's placed. The mouth and the eyes is kind of placed over top of the head geometry there to create these shapes. As you can see, they still have that crashing issue there, which we're going to work on fixing. I'm going to bring back the head just because it looks better to show the animation with the head on there. So yeah, these sides of the mouths move. This control outside of that will move both at the same time. Smile, frown. There we go. More gums there, less gums there. Really tweak that out to get. I think this is pretty good amount of expression we can get. We can open the jaw a bit there. I think that gives you a lot. We got the tongue in there. We can move the upper lips back and forward like this. I think there might be some, as you can see, we have some glitching in here. Looks like a weird thing's happening with the teeth at this pose. I bet you that's a weighting issue, so we probably have a weighting issue on the teeth. I'll write that down as well. Probably just a point is weighted to a bone. It shouldn't be. Something with something else in the mouth is weighted to the teeth, so that's causing it to break. I actually know what that is. It's, yeah. So yeah, that'll be something. Again, we're finding things that are breaking. We can fix that. So all this stuff here that's happening when the jaw goes up to the top like that, the teeth are kind of popping and breaking. We'll sort that out. As you can see here on the side of the mouth here, what we have this controls up and down. Is the bottom of the tooth are following that to kind of have the teeth sort of follow a bit. So I've either done that too much, which means I need to take that down a lot, or I need to remove it to stop that breaking happening from the top. So that's actually a driver. Teeth. Okay, perfect. We'll get into that after this video. Okay, what else can the mouth do here? So we have our mouth. Let's just see what else it can do. Let's just take a look at the other mouth controls we have here. So those are primary mouth controls to get those basic shapes there. I think I've shown everything. Oh, I didn't show this middle control here. It opens the upper lip at the same time. Upper and lower lip open at the same time. This opens the upper and lower lip individually. You can rotate this around like this. You can rotate these around. You can do a little bit of scaling there. A little bit of scaling there. A little bit of scaling there. Not always completely useful. As you can see, this kind of breaks the rig, but you know, if you really try hard, you can break the image. It's just temporarily broke. It's deformed. Again, it needs to work in a certain range, right? So in a certain range, this could be helpful to tweak a shape, right? Obviously, in too far a range, we're breaking it. What else do we have here? I think I showed, oops. Oh yeah, of course we can expand this control here. Really pull out the lips. Again, this sort of doesn't scale the teeth. So to get a pose like this, for some reason, if you were posing the camera, you'd have to kind of move the teeth back in. As you can see, this black space in the mouth here is sort of a crashing where this mouth shape is being sucked in. So I need to figure out whether it's weighting or shape keys or something to make sure that doesn't crash out there. That's something I will be working on. But yeah, I think, anyways, these controls, a lot of flexibility, a lot you can do with them. You know, each individual, if the teeth are bothering you for a shot, you can just pull them out. You can pull them out and they kind of float around. To look at the more individual controls, let's just go, we have teeth tweak controls. Let me just show you as outside of the mouth, essentially inside the mouth. We have control for the length there. This is the tweak controls. We can control that. And then we can control sort of, I wouldn't say individual teeth. We can kind of change the curves of the teeth like this if needed to really get that right tooth shape. Maybe it's blocking the tongue or something, or when the tongue's out, again, you can get more freedom in the teeth there. So that, I'm just going to bring them back together there. We're going to close the primary mouth control. We're going to close the teeth control. We're going to close the teeth tweaking there. And we're going to go to the secondary mouth control. Now again, this is another secondary control here. Again, these controls are being driven by those big outside controls, but you can individually sort of tweak your shape in there if you need more control once you've set a base shape. And again, we see that crashing the side, which will have to be dealt with. And once you've got your shape there, this thing is sort of the mouth position. So you can think of it like the way you control the eyes, where the eyes are pointing at a target, the mouth will point at this target. So we need to move the mouth around the face a bit. It kind of gives you the chance to move it around the face a little bit to get that. If you need to change the angle on a side camera angle to show the mouth better, you can do that. Doesn't look good in a straight on pose, but again, on your side pose, you might need an angle like this for some reason. Who knows? It's there because I built it because I had a good time. So there we go. Let's see what else we got here. Secondary mouth controls. Eyebrows have their own tweaks there as well. You can see they're following the curve how I had shaped the eye last time. You can tweak the eye shape exactly how you want to tweak it for whatever reason. It can be tweaked. I'm going to go on eyebrows, secondary. I'm just going to return that to default. Let's see. Eye tweak, we went over those controls, went over the teeth. Went over the mouth secondary controls. Looks like last thing I was the tongue. So I'm going to bring back my primary mouth controls here. Just to open up this mouth. So now I'm just opening my mouth just to give my tongue some space to give my tongue a little space here. So we have our tongue controls. Those are my tongue tweak controls. And if I look here at my primary tongue controls, and again, the tongue, you have your, basically you grab the tip of the tongue, pull it out of the mouth. You can rotate that tip. The tongue will follow. You've got these tweaks in the tongue here to adjust that curve of the tongue. You can grab the entire tongue at the back there, pull it out. This is just basically grabbing the entire tongue. The entire tongue rig there, we'll kind of isolate it outside of the mouth just to show it. See, up and down. You can see what the tongue does there. Not too complicated, just enough to give you the shapes you need. I think there's one more tongue tweak at the end, hidden under the arrow there. Yeah, you can tweak the tip of the tongue too. Yeah, and that's your tongue control. Gonna reset that back in the mouth. Gonna bring my jaw back. So I think I've gone over all the controls. If I've missed a few, that's all good. They're pretty much should give you the freedom to work from broad controls all the way to very specific controls on the face. Hopefully giving good appealing shapes and movements. One cool thing as well is in order to apply the rig to other characters, I've got to move the rig in pose mode. Oh yeah, here's the mouth control as well. I found it annoying that this is over the mouth sometimes. So you can actually bring it out away from the mouth and make it bigger so you can see better the controls there. I kind of like that. There we go. I kind of like having it on the side there so you can kind of see better what's going on as opposed to right there in front of the mouth. Sometimes I think that's useful. This one here just kind of moves lips around as you saw. Again, we got some crashing there, which I talked about, which I need to address some of that tooth crashing through the mouth and some of that mouth crashing into the mouth bag. Some of that could be probably addressed with changing the shape of the mouth bag inside. So if I go to the render and let's see, I hide the face again. You can see the actual physical mouth bag is pushing through the outline there. So a little bit, I'll adjust the weighting a bit, and maybe I'll shrink that mouth bag a little bit just in the corners there to help compensate and help clean that up. Again, we'll find a solution for the teeth. I'm not sure what I'll do yet, but I think we're getting into the final refinements here of the rig. This is a really cool mode. Yeah, in order to reuse the rig, basically you move the rig in pose mode, and then you go into object mode and you apply the modifier, the armature modifier to all the geometry. Then you go back into pose mode and then you apply as rest pose. Then you go back into object mode, you reapply the armature modifier to the geometry, and then you're back in business with the rig how you want it. But you do have to do one thing in order to, one of the drivers will break if you apply rest pose to it. So this is what I call setup mode to rebind the rig to a new character head. You press this first, and then it reveals the modifier stack you need for the head to make the mouth cut out of the head, which is right here. So I have two geometry nodes to basically cut out the mouth shape out of the head, because the head's a solid shape, there's no hole in it. And basically that piece of geometry is just a reference to hold those shapes, to hold those geometry nodes. And then back into pose mode. Again, this is what we're going to use this to move your eyes around for your new character. Maybe his eyes are closer together. Maybe his eyes are more, this other character has longer eyes like this and not so circular. Maybe he's got bigger brows. You kind of can change sort of the default position of your eyes there and move the head, the mouth into the place of the jaw, as you can see. Move it into place of the jaw. and you can make the jaw smaller, maybe for a child, smaller mouth. You shrink that on there, and again, once you've made these adjustments and fit it onto your character, you go back into your object mode and you apply all your armatures. Then you go back into your pose mode and you pose, apply as rest pose, and then apply your armatures again. And you're going to have sort of this being the default shape of your mouth and your eyes. That's just an example of how it might look. And you're doing it all under this mode here, under these controls, which are just made to move the features around the mouth. And the eyes and mouth are now open and the eyes are closed because it preserves one of the transformation drivers I'm using to create the blinks and to create the mouth shapes. So we'll just bring that back. And then, yeah, and that's it. That's essentially the entire mouth rig. You saw that there's a small list of things that I'm going to fix there that I've discovered, done this walkthrough. And yeah, if you have any, this is a long video kind of going through the rig. I didn't really explain a lot of how it's built. We have some geometry there that's the eyes are shrink wrapped to in order to the geometry shrink wrapped to in order to kind of curve around a head type shape. I've kind of created these cylinders here, and the eyes actually are curved around that shape using a lattice. Lattice is curved around the shape, and then let's just apply that. See the eyes, they go back into flat mode, but when I apply the lattice to the eyes, they curve around, and also I use lattice to make the eyes an appealing shape. And if you wanted to, when you're setting up per character, you want to change the shape of his eyelids, you just go into eyebrows, you go into the lattice and you kind of use this to remodel the eyelid. And what's cool is that's actually a saved shape key, so you can put it default and you can adjust that lattice to give your eye shape the eye shape you want for the character, right? For this character, that's the eye shape I chose. Same thing with the eyes themselves. This is the eyes, but there is a shape key on them, which basically, essentially, they're a perfect circle. So I didn't want to make a perfect circle, so I just kind of slightly adjusted the shape of the eye there to bring it in a little bit to give it a less perfect 3D look on default pose, albeit it is pretty circular, but that can be adjusted per character. And as I maybe decide needs to change as my style develops, the eye can change as well too, making the rig hopefully pretty flexible. And that's in my hidden groups there in the eyes. The mouth has some hidden groups again here. This basically is ray casting onto the head using these geometry node setups, which is cutting a hole in the head. And these have armature on them that are following the mouth shape in order to cut the hole in the geometry, allowing me to kind of reuse a mouth on top of all my heads that don't have holes in them. Also, this is why it's so low poly on the face, because I haven't modeled in the eyes and the mouth and the face. I've kind of put them on top. Okay, that's just it's a little preview of how things are working in the rig. I don't know if this was if you stuck through, you're probably doing your own rigs or trying to figure stuff out. This took a lot of trial and error. If you have any questions or comments or want to know more about how something was achieved, I only have 50 followers, maybe less on this channel, so throw a comment. I'd be happy to answer you in the comment, or just post in the video answering the question specifically. Hopefully, this is something that that was interesting or useful or inspiring. Let's see, we'll just do this. This would probably be a good thumbnail. Look at that. Maybe we'll use this as a thumbnail and sucker some people into coming in for a closer look at my at my animation. Again, thank you so much for watching, if you watched, and It's been useful for me to kind of troubleshoot it and find a few errors in the rig. And the next step, like I said, is developing that pose library and then doing a lip sync animation test, getting a little bit of dialogue in there and doing a lip sync and doing a little bit of facial animation to sort of make sure things look good in full animation. Thanks for watching the video. It's been a long one, but it's a pleasure to share the process. All right, have a great afternoon.